Yeah.
See if you can do, if you try it.
Well, right across the street from me, we lived at 257 York, and the Blooms were across the street. They were sort of a men's haberdashery. And next to them was the Lee's family, and he too had a men's haberdashery. And there was Joe and Ida Foreman, who had a little restaurant, and Louis Goldberg and Dorothy, who had a grocery store. And let me see, we can go, I remember the Rubensteins. They were in the fruit business. And next door to us were the Wigdersons. They long moved away. And next to them was the Lightstones. Actually, Ada, I think, is still at Shalom, and Eva died, and they had a brother, Herman, who passed away, and the Ingroffs lived up the street, and my late, let me see, I'm around, and on the left of us were the Yanivers, and many Jews going all the way down to King and James, down to York and James.
And there were grocery stores, no?
A lot of grocery stores. There was Mrs. Rosenberg, who had a grocery store, and the Siemens, who had a fish store.
How about
And
personalities? Can you tell us about personalities? Like Mrs. Rosenberg is her personality.
oh, she was sweet, and yeah, I remember the barrels of herring outside of her store. And if anybody wanted one, they had to put their arms up to here and that. Thank goodness I didn't have to do anything like that. And there were the Boleslavskys had the Jewish deli. Yeah, and along there. And there the Yaffes. I think theirs was before the Yaffes, a family named Galinsky used to live in that house, and it was a grocery store, and the Yaffes took over and ran the grocery store. I remember the Matchins, and oh gosh, I'm trying to think of.
Where did you live?
I lived on York Street at 257 between Hess and Queen.
And did you go to a synagogue or anything?
Yeah, and it was left out of that little piece of paper out of the spec that couple weeks ago. Hess Street shul. It was just a little shul on Peter Street and around the corner from York and Hess. And my parents went there, and we as children all went there until, we were grown up. And so we went to shul there. And my late brother used to go to learn for his bar mitzvah and that, to Mr. Oh gosh, now I'm going to forget. Oh, he was a very strict teacher. Mr. Pearl, that was him, and in his front of his house, and his boyfriends, they all went there.
What public school did you go to?
Hess Street School, right across the street from the house. I could leave at 8:45 and be there on time.
Were there a lot of Jewish kids?
Oh yeah, half the thing. School almost had to close down every Jewish holiday. Yeah, there were many. Yeah, and those. I always said that those days were wonderful days for me. growing up on York Street.
Really?
We never had to lock our door. We had 3 boarders in our house, and we never had to lock a door at night. And all right, sweetie.
Was it common to take in boarders? Did a lot of people take in?
Yeah, they did. They took in, and we were fortunate. We had good boarders that stayed for all my teen days, right until till I was ready to let me see. I lived on York Street till I was 13 years old, and then the Jewish people were starting to move, and my oldest sister, may she rest in peace, she said, "Mother, it's time we move too. We've got to, because everybody is moving, we're going to move down east." So that's what happened.
Where did you move?
We moved down to, it was Oak Avenue. It was just off Cannon and Tisdale. And our house was there. And because all the Jewish my sister's friends were all moving, either into Westdale or down east. A lot of Jewish people.
Your friends were Jewish?
Beg pardon?
Your friends were
All my friends were Jewish, yeah.
Can you talk to us about the East End a little bit? The East End neighborhood?
Well, it was very hard for my mother. My mom spoke a bit of English, but she went to night school to improve herself, to learn. My dad could. My dad actually came from Russia before he came about 2 years before my mother. He sent for my mother, and he had a job and a house and everything waiting for her when he got here. And we had one Jewish. We were the only Jewish people on our street. And then finally we got another family moved in. So there were and it was good for my mom because finally she had somebody she went to in the evening to sit and have a cup of tea and talk. Sure. And Mrs. Ellen Swig. And then I got married, and I was the only one left in the house. And so when I got married, my sister took my mother. They gave up the house, and because my dad had passed away in 1950, he had a severe heart attack. And so anyways, and I was married, and so my sister my sister took my mom.
Did you spend any time at the Jewish Community Center?
Oh yeah, as a teenager, we were there all summer, almost every day, and
which JCC was that?
On John Street. Well, first of all, we went to the one on Vine Street. Walter Lyons was our director, and it used to cost us, I think, $0.25 to go. And we learned crafts, and we did different things. That's where it started. And I used to go to a shul behind the Jewish Center. It was on Vine Street. And then we went to John Street. And we used to, myself and my very closest friends, there was Sarah Sauter, who is Sarah Roshworth, and a couple of other girls. We sort of ran the dances every Saturday night, and we got all the kids from Kitchener and Guelph to come in, and we would take turns. Maybe every other Saturday we would go to either Kitchener or Guelph, or they would come to the center, and we had a lot of fun. It was wonderful. Good friends.
Were there boys?
Oh yeah, well that was the whole idea of having the dance, because we would invite, hoping boys would come.
Sure.
Yeah, and they did. And we had really, really, really nice times. No one actually went like, we didn't go steady with one person. We always went as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And we all hung out at the Majestic restaurant on York Street after anything. We'd have pop and pie or something. Yeah, we always went as a group.
What about the shul that you went to?
The shula?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went, I don't know, in those days, my dad used to believe that boys were going to have bar mitzvahs, so they had to go to a cheder properly.
Mm-hmm.
And me being the youngest daughter, I went to the shul just to learn Jewish.
Right.
And, you know, because in those days, if your friends went, you went.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the idea. And, but they were good times, very good times.
Are you in touch with any childhood friends?
Oh, well, to this day, my best friend is Shirley. She was Shirley Rainvosser, and we've known each other since Hess Street school days. And Shirley was one of my bridesmaids, and I was her maid of honor.
Really? And
we still speak every week. We still. Her husband has since passed away, but she lives on the mountain, and neither one of us drive, so it's hard. But we do get together for special occasions. But we talk all the time.
There weren't that many Jews on the mountain, were there?
No, very few, very few. But it's funny, the ones that did go up there liked it so much because they said the air was so much nicer up there, but I don't know. But, and I still see Sarah Sauter. She's Sarah Roshworth, married to Harold. We were very best friends, and they used to live on Victoria Avenue, and we went to high school together.
Mm.
And
what high school?
We went to High School of Commerce on Sanford, and we became stenographers and bookkeepers, and
really?
Yeah.
Can you do shorthand?
A little. I've forgotten everything. You know what? I think I can remember yours truly, and that's about it. But I mostly was in bookkeeping. I worked in. Once my kids were growing up and going to high school, and when my youngest started a high school at Westdale, the other two were already in university. I went back to work, and I worked in Dundas for 22 years in a little place, and in the office doing bookkeeping and receptionist and things like that, payroll. Enjoyed it immensely.
Wow.
Yeah, my boss used to say, if we have to bring you in a wheelchair, we're not going to let you go. I was there till I was 70.
What company?
It was called Canmar Industries.
What, you're over 70 now?
I'm 81.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow is right.
But you're very good.
And soon to be 82 next Saturday.
Well, listen, you're wonderful. Your daughter said that, you have to speak to my mother because her memory is really, really good.
Yeah.
Your daughter is absolutely right.
Oh.
You are very, very fortunate.
Which I said to my daughter, oh God, what if I have a senior's moment and wiped out.
Wendy, can you think of anything else?
Can you talk about East End life a little bit? Like, how old were you when you moved to the East End?
13. And I went to, it's called Tweedsmuir now, but it was Victoria Avenue Public School. I did the last year there. And then I went to High School of Commerce. And
was it as vibrant a neighborhood as York Street? Was it?
Oh, no, it was, No, York Street was, everybody knew everybody on York Street. Everybody. You know,
Do any personalities stand out in your mind? People that you remember that had a big personality?
on York Street, you mean? Or
just in those days.
in those days? I don't know, there's just so many. Like
personalities, when I think of personalities when I was growing up, I think of Max Mintz at the Chicken Roost.
oh yeah, we remember those. Best cherry pie in town.
Or institutions, was the Chicken Roost in your time? Or
Oh yeah, Max Mintz. My husband was a musician, and he used to play a lot where Max catered, and
Your husband was a full-time?
No, he worked for Goblatz. Sid worked for Goblatz, but weekends was his music.
Oh yeah.
where would he play?
Where would he play?
Weddings.
All
What's wrong?
Jewish weddings, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, socials, bowling banquets, B'nai B'rith banquets, any things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a beautiful picture on my hall wall from his obituary because Leslie Simpson was a reporter at the Spec, and Leslie and my daughter were girlfriends. And Leslie one day said to me, I think there's so much interest like you're in your husband's life that maybe would you mind? And when Sid passed away and the reporter came and he wrote a gorgeous obituary. And I've got it framed and it's in the hall about Sid, because music was, well, it's entitled Music Was His First Love, which it was, yeah.
So he was well known in the community for playing?
Yeah, Sid was a musical director for we used to put on the variety shows in Hamilton, and that's how I met Sid. And he was a music director. And yeah, and we had I was in two of them before, and then we were married, and I started
with. What were the shows? Were they Jewish?
Jewish humor and singing and dancing.
At the Beth Jacob?
No, we had them at Palace Theater and things like, yeah.
Really?
In the we drew enough people that. Yeah, Joe Fox used to come in from, I don't know, if the Tribell Club. We were and there were like Joe Poster and Joe Fox and them. They had something to do with theater in Toronto, and they used to come in too and help them out. But my husband was a comedian, and he had a beautiful voice, and he sang. And he was a soloist at the Temple Choir for many years. And yeah, so as I say, and then of course he started his own band. He had it for about 35 years. And he had 5 boys, men. And yeah, they used to play. We would go to Niagara Falls, Brantford, close by, and do weddings and everything, yeah. So
with whom would you spend Saturday nights?
With me and my children until they grew up. And then I joined, because sometimes he was so busy, we formed a poker club. So we took turns. And there was always about 8 of us, and we played poker Saturday night.
Yeah, I know this world.
Yeah.
I know this world. Well, listen, Wendy, you're good. I thank you. We both thank you.
Oh,
wonderful.
You're welcome.
Can I just ask you one other thing?
Yeah.
When you go to Shellam Village,
yeah.
do they let you bring the dog?
Yes, they do, but you know what? My son is going to take. My son and Zeus are like cloned,
Oh, okay.
but the thing is, they thought about it, and we thought about it, and they said, "Mom, how are you going to manage letting them out like 7 times a day?"
Sure.
You know, and what if you want to go on a trip, or do or you know, or have something?
Sure, sure.
What are you going to do with the dog? And like, you can't take him into the dining room for dinner, because you know, dogs don't go into dining rooms. And but he said he'll be my weekend visitor. Gary said he'll bring him in every weekend.
You're going to do amazingly well
Yeah,
at your village.
yeah.
You enjoy it?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, William. You know, I've been, like I say, I've been here 50 years, and I was married almost, well, it would have been 59 years, and so, you know,
Well, these transitions.
my kids grew up here, and I'm, you know, and my actually, there's only 2 neighbors left, myself and the one across the street there, who are the originals on the
You know
street.
who used to live around here?
Jack Lieberman lived around the corner. The Liebermans.
No, but there was another.
Mr. Minna Lois, mom and dad, the Abelises,
Oh, really?
lived over here.
Really?
And Estelle and Harry Bloom lived next door. And Lee Cohn lived 2 doors away.
Oh, they're
Yeah, we had about maybe five of us, and it was wonderful. You know, we would sit out until midnight in our driveways and talk and laugh, and Sid had a little electric piano also, and he would set it up, and my neighbors, I mean, Gentile and all, would say, "Oh, please leave your windows and doors open," especially Sundays when they used to have rehearsals here, band rehearsals every Sunday morning before they played jobs and that on the weekends. And oh no, it was, this street was, my kids will always remember this street.